Hey, gorgeous. Welcome to day 17 of our 21-day mindfulness challenge. So, the big question, how has it been for you? For me, well, thank you for asking. It has been eye-opening. It has been very ebb and flow. I've been giving myself a lot of grace. I noticed that when I go through processing a lot of emotions, like we have been doing for these past few days, I'm tired. And that's normal because I'm releasing a lot of things, a lot of trauma. I'm working through it. I'm acknowledging it. I am giving it a name. And that's taxing on the body, on the mind, on the spirit. And so I'm telling you this so that if you feel tired while you're going through it, give yourself grace. Give yourself the time, allow yourself the time. If it becomes overwhelming, pause. It's a journey, it's not a race. Pause, take an hour, take a day, take a week. The point is, we're going to come back to it, right? And you're going to have tools and you're going to have a clear mind to work your way through it. And like I always advocate, if you need additional help, find those resources in the community to support you and help you to elevate, okay? So day 17 is about the importance of what we allow inside of our space in our mind. And so it talks about choosing, the importance of choosing what your inputs are. And I know a lot of us have heard it, be it if you're talking a religious background or you're talking just someone speaking spiritually or just someone in everyday conversation, being mindful of what you feed your mind. What are you seeing constantly? What are you constantly being bombarded when it comes to hearing different things? What are you constantly consuming? How do you take on certain things? Do you take it on, right? So it's being mindful of what's in front of you because we cannot escape everything. But how you perceive it, receive it, and allow it to do what it needs to do, and whatever that looks like, is what you learn along the way, okay? So it talks about things like, so I'm just going to read from the list, that's what I'm looking over. Inputs from people, inputs from the media, from your culture, from various information and social media. Well, we know the most important part. I'm on social media giving you this information, right? So social media is one that is when I put a star beside. And the reason I did that is social media, I've never liked social media. Never been a fan of it. Only reason I'm on it, was even introduced to Facebook. I knew about it because I was in college, but my friends wanted to be on it. And at that time, so I'm dating myself, Facebook, you had to have a college email address in order to be on it. And our college, I got invited to be a part of the network. And that's what happened. So my friend knew my email address and created me an account. So that's the only reason. But I never liked it. I had to learn recently. It's not I had to learn, but I changed my perspective on how I looked at social media. Social media can be treated as a vision board, electronic one, okay? So I can go in, now think about it. On social media, what is it that you're looking at? A feed. Listen to that. It's a feed. It's something that's feeding you, right? Well, if you were to be serving up dinner or lunch or breakfast and you're feeding yourself, you're not going to feed yourself trash. You're not going to feed yourself stuff that's not nutritious. So it's the same thing with social media. Feed. I now look at social media and the feed as how do I want to absorb certain things in my body. I'm then taking this information, so I get to choose who I'm following. I get to choose what I want to follow. I get to also go in and say, you know what, that person doesn't align with me anymore. Doesn't matter if they're a friend, a family member, whatever. Unfriend them, block them. There's no one saying you can't do it. It's your feed. Take your power back. And that's how you start to choose your inputs. That's the most simplistic one you can do, honestly. Why? Because you can do it without anyone really knowing you're doing it. And sometimes we're afraid to do something because we are waiting for someone to give us that negative feedback. Well, do it. And I'm not saying let me make sure I am saying, but let me make sure I say it anyway. Because I know someone will be like, oh, you're being sneaky. No, you're not being sneaky, okay? I want you to take that, throw it in the trash. You are being mindful of what you're allowing in your space, okay? You're cleaning that up because we just went through this whole activity of writing down all this stuff that either people have called you or people have ideologies that people have put on you that are negative. So we're doing a cleanup. We're doing an audit and an inventory, right? So if you have family members that trigger you, if you at this time you don't have the notion, I want you to go with your intuition here, okay? If your intuition is saying just block, just unfollow them, you've taken them out your news feed, you don't see it. If your intuition says unfollow them, unfollow them. You don't need to give explanation to anyone. It's your life. It's your social media page, okay? If you need to unfriend them, baby, unfriend them, okay? We are protecting you. The most important thing in all of this is you. And you're doing the work. And you don't owe anybody an apology. You're not saying they're a bad person. You're not rejecting them. You're rejecting the ideologies. You're rejecting the behavior. And if they associate themselves with that, well, then that's their issue, not yours. But you no longer are co-signing to those things. So social media kind of covers a lot of those topics of people and media and culture and information, right? You can tell a lot about a person during conversation of where they are in their life, what they're battling in their life, what they're preparing themselves for in their life by what they're watching and what they talk about. And it's mind-boggling. Just take inventory when you talk to someone. What are they constantly talking about? What are they absorbing a lot of, consuming a lot of information about? It'll tell you a lot about what they're dealing with. Be it good or bad, it just tells you about people, and it's also being mindful of who you're around because you also are absorbing that information. And does that information serve you? If it doesn't, it's okay. Just be like, you know what? I really am interested in spending time with you, but let's talk about something else right now. I don't have capacity for that part. I'm not rejecting you. I'm just saying I don't have capacity to engage in that right now. We can come back to it later and move on. Okay? So that's day 17. It's a lot. There's some other things that it talks about doing, but I really felt like it was more important to talk about, because I'm on social media giving you this information, the social media aspect of it. But, I mean, we can, if you want, you can put a comment below, personal message me, and I can give some more of the tips that they have in there of how to audit yourself, especially when it comes to people. It gives you tips, things how to audit when it comes to people. When you're auditing media, media is also music, TV shows. That's just not news. But what about what type of music you're listening to? What type of movies, TV shows are you co-signing to? What about culture? When it comes to culture, what core beliefs do you hold on to that could be detrimental to your mental health? Okay? So work on that and just know that there's no right or wrong. You're processing, okay? And we're working our way through it to have a skilled mindset and a thriving lifestyle. I absolutely adore you, and I love you, and I'll catch you next time.